Hey everybody, it's been a while. It's been a long time. I haven't been that motivated to make videos lately, but there was a question that got me motivated, and that question is, as you know from the title of this video, who are my favorite characters of all time across all media, whether or not it's anime, manga, TV shows, movies, books, etc. So I actually started working on this list at the very beginning of this year because I kind of wanted to know who are my favorite characters of all time, so I could be prepared if anybody asked me that. And just kind of throughout the year, I've been modifying and tweaking the list. I initially had like 70 characters I like, and then since then I've been modifying it. And now I think I could safely say that this is a comprehensive 50 favorite characters of all time. So a few things before I get into the list. One, this list is not ranked. This is not, my 50th favorite character to my favorite character of all time. I don't even have a definitive favorite character of all time. So just treat this list as just 50 characters that I really love and who I consider my favorite. This list is not in any ranked order. The second thing is that this is going to be I'm going to have a 3 character limit. What this means is that I could only use 3 characters from the same series or franchise, a limit to only 3. I did this that way, this list wouldn't be saturated or I guess oversaturated with a bunch of characters from like the same 3 series. But also, I allowed 3 characters because I still wanted to be an accurate representation of my favorite characters. So, like my second and third favorite characters from one series, I could still like more than my favorite characters, like my number one favorite characters from other series. So, with allowing 3 characters, this list can be as accurate to my genuine list as possible. And third, I'm not going to go over every character. I'm not even going to go over every. I'm not going to go over every character, and I might not even go into detail in any character. But just for time's sake, I'm not going to talk about each character why I like them. I probably have something to say about all of them, but like I said, I'm not going to go into detail, into specifically why. Just maybe a quick thing. How much I say about each character is not indicative of how much I like them or that I like them more than others. Like I said, I'm just gonna limit how much I go over for time's sake. So, without further ado, here are my 50 favorite characters of all time. So number 50, starting off, we have Lady Boshi from Princess Mononoke. Lady Mon- excuse me, Lady Eboshi is one of my favorite antagonists. And Princess Mononoke, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, is not a story of heroes and villains, but rather individuals in a conflict. Lady Eboshi is one of those individuals. She's a strong leader who built a village where the women are the strongest people there, and she only wants to preserve peace between humanity. She's a really great and underrated character. And number 49 is Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreation. In a show full of eccentric characters, Ron Swanson still stands out. Number 48, we have Vivi from Vivi Fluorite's Eye Song. To get an idea of Vivi as a character, just think about the Terminator, but the Terminator can also sing really well. Yeah, that's Vivi for you. At number 47 and 46, actually, I have two characters grouping together, and that's Luffy and Zoro from One Piece. Neither of these characters really need much explanation. Luffy is just this endearing MC who is so easy to root for, and Zoro is a consistent show stealer. Speaking of MCs, we got a string of some of my favorites coming up. So here at number 45 is Gabimaru the Hollow from Hell's Paradise. This dude is just so cold and so raw. In addition to that, Gabimaru's journey of growing strength played a big role in my enjoyment of my favorite completed new gen manga as of right now. Number 44 is Jin Sion from Bastard. Bastard is one of the best stories I've ever read, period. And the central part of that story was Jin and his development. In this story, he learns to make friends, he learns to open himself up to Hyun, the girl he likes, and he has to grow in order to face his father, a serial killer. Now, if you haven't read Bastard, read it. It is phenomenal. And number 43 is Alan Walker from The Gray Man. He's one of my favorite manga MCs in both character execution as well as character design. And number 42 is Dokcha Kim from Omniscient Reader, who is the MC from one of my favorite manhwas. So I'm a fan of this really underrated manga series called Teppu. And in Teppu, we have a very underrated protagonist in Natsuo Ishido. So if you haven't read Teppu, you should. It's only 40 chapters, and the MMA is great in this series. And Natsuo, basically, to sum it up, is a very different type of protagonist. And number 40 is Yun Cha. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Yun, not Hyun, but Yun Cha from Sweet Home. So Sweet Home was written by the same author as Bastard. And in Sweet Home, we get another one of my favorite MCs in another dark story setting. So I know people may be tired of the overpowered anime MC trope, but my number 39th pick is Anyos Voldegod from the Misfit of Demon Academy. This dude is just portrayed and executed in such a super satisfying way. Like, as overdone as the overpowered MC is, I think Anyos is up there with like the Saitamas, in which he's overpowered, but he's executed, like I said, in such an effortlessly satisfying way. Love this guy. At number 38 is Cor Sensei from Assassination Classroom. So, one of my favorite teachers in anime, Cor Sensei embodies the best qualities of our favorite teachers that we've had growing up. He's hardworking, he cares about the students' learning over grades, he fosters improvement, and he strives to make memories. And number 37 is Charlie Perks from the movie The Perks of Being a Wallflower. And number 36 is Emma from The Promised Neverland. Optimistic, cheerful, loud, spirited, a strong leader. These are just some of the things that makes Emma such an endearing person. Speaking of leaders, at number 35, well, that spot goes to none other than Optimus Prime. Yes, I'm a Transformers fan. Optimus Prime is arguably my favorite leader in media, and he's one who never fails to rally myself behind him with his amazing speeches. Peter Cullen's voice performance as the last Prime is iconic. At number 34 is Sawamura Setsu, the talented shamisen player and main character from the anime Those Snow White Notes. At number 33 is Shinichi Izumi from Parasite. Shinichi is one of my all-time favorite protagonists, and he has some of the best and compelling character development that I've ever seen in an anime. His fluctuating behavior and personal questions to himself, such as the meaning of humanity, instinct, love, relationships, etc., played a big part in making Parasite one of my all-time favorite animes. Number 32 is my favorite woman with the sword, and that's Claire from Claymore. Claire has an excellent portrayal of growth, not only as a warrior, but also learning to define strength through relationships she forms around her throughout the series. And number 31 is Ginga from the Beyblade Metal series. Now, Beyblade will always have a close place in my heart, and so will its endearing protagonist. And number 30 is Walter from The Big Lebowski. Walter is among my favorite movie characters, and John Goodman's performance as Walter is one of my favorites. He's so hilarious in The Big Lebowski, and I think that John Goodman should have at least been nominated for Best Supporting Actor in his role. Number 29 is another character from Hell's Paradise, and that's Yamada Simon Saiguri, the Executioner. And she's actually my favorite character from the series. Whereas Gabi Maru is my favorite new gen protagonist, Saiguri is easily my favorite new gen dude antagonist. She has a similar journey of growth like Gabi Maru, as well as a journey of personal self acceptance, as she is tested by the dangers of the island along with all the other prisoners and executioners. She's intelligent, and she actually proves to be one of the more sympathetic characters, as she's the first one of the group to truly wish for everyone to get off the island alive, executioners and criminals alike. Speaking of self acceptance, at number 28 is Shoyo from A Silent Voice. A Silent Voice is a story of friendship and redemption, and despite being a former bully, Shoyo's road to acceptance, both from others as well as himself, was a beautiful journey. And number 27 is Indiana Jones from the Indiana Jones franchise. One of the most iconic heroes in cinema, Indiana Jones is written as an extraordinary man capable of accomplishing amazing feats and survive the impossible, but he's also grounded as an ordinary man, escaping death by the skin of his teeth every single time. Number 26 is Nia Teplin from Gurren Lagann. This is the first of three Gurren Lagann characters. Nia is probably the only 2D woman I'd actually die for. Yeah, I mean, I'm not serious, but I also am. Anyways, moving on. At number 25 is Minato from Naruto. Another first of three characters from the same series. Minato is probably my favorite character from Naruto just because, or I guess just based on how cool I think he is. Despite his kind demeanor, he's one of the deadliest shinobi in the series, and I never get tired of talking about Minato. And number 24 is the uplifting, funny, and dramatic samurai, Kikuchiyo from Seven Samurai. Great movie. And number 23 is one of my favorite antagonists ever, and that's Esdeath from Akame ga Kill. Akame ga Kill had a decent amount of interesting characters, and Esdeath prevailed as my favorite. She's an antagonist you love to hate because of how bloodthirsty and sadistic she is, but she also has this endearing side that she shows through her love for Tatsumi. She's still crazy though, but that made her the most compelling character. Her design is pretty dope too. Moving on is Nicole Mcgrath from Infamous at my number 22nd spot, Cole McGrath is from one of my favorite PlayStation franchises. And number 21 is Ignacio, aka Nacho from Nacho Libre. Now, okay, before you say anything, I love Nacho Libre, and Jack Black knocks it out of the park with his endearing performance as our hero luchador. So, we've hit the top 20. The woman who's earned the 20th spot on my list of my favorite characters of all time is Nikaido from Dorohedoro. Dorohedoro has one of the best casts in manga ever, so saying that Nikaido is my favorite is no small feat. She's funny, she's badass, and she has a compelling mystery to her past, like many of the characters from that manga. Next up is Kratos from God of War at number 19. Kratos was already a dope, angry character in the first three God of War games, but man, God of War 4. That game added a whole new layer to Kratos and seeing his role as a father. Who knew an angry character like Kratos could also be portrayed so beautifully? Number 18, now I hope I pronounced this all correctly, is Guido Orifice from Life is Beautiful. Roberto Benigni gives one of my favorite performances ever in a movie as Guido. Life is Beautiful is both a dark and, of course, beautiful story. Its heavy themes comes from its depiction of the Holocaust, but the beauty of the film is heavily owed to Guido, who is an effortlessly charming character. So the coolest characters out there are the characters who don't know or don't try to be cool, but they are cool. Now there are multiple examples of that cool type of character on my list, but Osamu Dazai from Bungo Stray Dogs remains one of my favorite examples of that, and he's my 17th pick. It doesn't matter what he's doing in the anime, whether he's solving a mystery, saying something funny, heck, even just where he is placed within a scene, my attention is always on Dazai. He commands so much engagement and attention. Mamoru Miyano really knocked it out of the park with his voice performance as the detective. And number 16 is Chihiro from Spirited Away. Chihiro is just a sweet girl in a really sweet movie. Number 15 is one of the most coolest, stylish, charismatic, and iconic video game characters of all time, and that's Dante from Devil May Cry. Anything that Dante says or does throughout each of his games is either iconic, cool, badass, or just all of the above. And number 14 is Kakashi from Naruto. Of all the characters in Naruto, Kakashi is an example of those characters, or I guess one of those characters that's like the complete package. He's cool, he's mysterious, he's funny, he's a strong, reliable shinobi. He has a larger, or I guess a layer of complexity and development demonstrated throughout the series. Kakashi is just one of the most beloved characters in all of anime for a reason. How can anyone not like Kakashi? Number 13 is Anya Forger from Spy Family. Spy Family is easily my favorite ongoing new gen manga right now, and it boasts three really great characters in its MCs. Lloyd is great, Yor is awesome, but if I had to pick my favorite of the three, I'd have to go with the telepathic mind reader that is Anya. She's so adorable and hilarious. Her facial expressions are funny. Her reactions to whatever the people around her are thinking are also really funny. Anya has never failed to put a smile on my face, and she steals the show in each chapter that Spy Family focuses on her. Number 12 is Logan from Logan. So, despite being released in 2017, Logan has become one of my most watched movies ever. I love that movie so much, and a big reason why I love that movie is Hugh Jackman's performance as the titular character. His performance has never failed to invoke emotion from myself every time I watch. The Wolverine we know in this movie is beaten, rugged, running on fumes, and done with life. But Logan's shift in mindset throughout the movie, like I said, always lands the mark each and every rewatch. And number 11 is one of the most iconic, one of the most best selling, and one of the most well known superheroes of all time, Batman. I don't think I need to explain Batman at all, other than, well, because he's Batman. So now we've hit the top 10. Well, I did mention before that this list isn't definitive in order. You can definitely assume that I like all these characters to certain extents, more than most of the previous characters listed. So don't take this as my official top 10, but this would be a good idea of what my top 10 would be like. So at number 10, at my 10th spot, is Kagera from Gintama. I mean, what other shonen girl, I guess who other shonen girl is doing it like Kagera? Name one girl. No one. No one in shonen or even manga, or I guess no one even manga or shonen in general is doing what Kagura is doing. I love Kagura. She is hands down my favorite female anime protagonist by a landslide. And number 9 is Percy Jackson from the Percy Jackson series. Now, I love that book series. I mean, for the people I know that who've read it, a lot of people my age have read it and love it. And who doesn't? I mean, Rick Riordan wrote Percy in a manner that made Percy a character who was effortlessly rootable. Like he was a character you could consistently root for and get behind. And number 8 is San from Princess Mononoke, the second character from Princess Mononoke. While I may argue that Lady Boshi served her role as a antagonist better than San served her role as one of the protagonists, I think that San just had a cooler design overall. Plus, she was the first female anime heroine I ever liked. As a kid, it's not like I didn't think that women in anime couldn't be cool or great characters, but as far as I was concerned, San was the first awesome woman character in anime for me. So I owe her that much. Number 7 is Naruto. Now, I don't think I need to explain this too much, but I'll say one thing. Naruto has a distinct advantage compared to all the other characters on this list, except maybe Percy Jackson. And it's that while Naruto grew up, I grew up along with Naruto. I saw Naruto's development through my eyes as I myself experienced the similar coming of age themes that Naruto the series provides. And past all the nostalgia, I haven't seemed to outgrown Naruto yet. My favorite Orange Hokage will always have a special place in my heart. At number 6 and 5, I decided to group two characters together, and that is Simone and Kamina from Gurren Lagann. You probably expected these two after I previously mentioned Nia. But anyways, I've grouped these two together because while they are very well their own, respective, and unique characters, I like them both for similar reasons. Kamina is one of the most endearing characters in all of anime who set the tone and atmosphere for Gurren Lagann, while Simone is one of my favorite MCs in all of anime that just embodies many of the themes of the show. Because both characters acted out with each other in their minds as well as held each other strongly in their hearts, I can't help but just group them both together. Like I get goosebumps, seeing them together when rewatching Gurren Lagann. I love the series. I love these two characters so much. Number 4 is my favorite MC in all of anime, and that's Gintoki from Gintama. God, what a character! He's a character that you can look up to and think is super cool 1 second, and then not take him seriously the next second. He can make you bust your gut laughing and also get you emotional through his speeches. By the way, if I were to compile a list of my favorite speeches in media, Gintoki would have the most appearances on that list by a landslide. Anyways, there's so much that I could say about Gintoki, but the thing I'll leave off with is that Gintoki truly understands what's important. He knows what's important to him, and he easily sees what's important to other people, whether or not it's a friend or someone he just met. He fights in order to protect what he holds close. And Gintoki draws strength from the things he needs to protect, and it never gets old how beautiful it is each time he swings that wooden sword. His soul really touched me. Love this dude so much. So, anyways, moving on. At number 3 is one of my all-time favorite movie characters, and that's Lee from Enter the Dragon. Played by the legendary Bruce Lee, this character is timeless. The movie itself may be a bit dated for some audiences, but Bruce Lee's performance as the badass instructor turned secret intelligence affiliate has never gotten old every time I've seen Enter the Dragon, which, by the way, is also one of my most rewatched movies. Lee just oozes with charisma, passion, and presence in each scene. And I feel like one of the reasons why Bruce Lee has this strong prevailing legacy to this day as this superhuman, untouchable man, I think a lot of that was attributed to his amazing performance in this movie. Just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. Like truly. Number 2 is where I placed the strongest contender for my favorite anime character of all time, and that is Katsura from Gintama. I love Katsura a lot. Katsura is he's just effortlessly funny in Gintama. Amongst a cast full of funny and eccentric characters, Katsura still stands out from the rest. Even the weirdest or off-putting characters themselves are reacting and are surprised towards whatever he brings to the table. Katsura has never failed to garner a reaction from myself. By appearances, you would assume he'd be the stoic, cool character, but he ends up being this big idiot running from the cops. But then you eventually learn that he actually is a cool character, as well as being complex. But then, he's a complex idiot running from the cops. Kratos has the best gags. He has the best theme whenever he appears on a screen. And there's so much more that I can articulate about Katsura, but I'll leave it off with this. There probably won't be anyone else like Katsura. So much to the extent that I got this dude tattooed on me for the rest of my life. Love Katsura, with all my heart. So the previous two characters on my list were contenders for my favorites. I guess, yeah, were contenders of certain favorites. You know what I mean? So we had my favorite movie character. We had my probably favorite anime character. So at the summit, I decided to end with my favorite video game character of all time. And that character is Nathan Drake from Uncharted. I love Nathan Drake for the same reasons I love Indiana Jones. Both characters are written as men capable of crazy feats, but also they're both grounded as ordinary at the end of the day. But I guess what makes me like Nathan Drake more is his flippant personality. He's very funny, and he often makes quips to himself, or to his enemies as he fights them. And he's always kind of like freaking out, each crazy situation he's in, whether or not it's fighting a helicopter on foot or nearly jumping on a cliffside. Not to mention, Nathan has pulled off even crazier feats than Indiana Jones, in all honesty. Anyways, getting back on track, Nathan's journey throughout his 4 games was truly an adventure, and it wouldn't have been such a great journey if it wasn't through his eyes. So that kind of concludes my list for top 50 favorite characters of all time. I apologize if the presentation might have been a little bit messy. I wanted to go semi off the fly, semi scripted because I felt more natural. But I felt more comfortable like this, and I had a really fun time making this list over time and making this video. So anyways, with that said, thank you all for watching. Know that in the next video, whatever it is, whenever it is, it's going to be something that I really care about. And for those who are still watching, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I just love sharing things with you. And I'll see you next time, whenever it is. All right, clocking out. See ya.